What's up, YouTube? Your boy back once again with another sport topic, and today we're gonna talk some football, Houston Texas football. But we got a special guest in the building today, man. Who we got in here today?
Man, you already know what it is, man. Third Coast Sports TV. Wink's in the building with my boy Spitz, man. We feel a great video. We got to hold down the sauce while our boy head honcho. We had to go sit down for a little bit. We gonna make sure that boy get out. We gonna be right back on our things.
Already. So yeah, so like I said, we're gonna talk some football today. Especially of course, we're gonna talk some Texas. But before we get to that, the NFL owners proposed a new CBA, and the things that could affect the fans as far as watching football with the new CBA is they want to add, of course, something they've been trying to add for years, an extra game. They want to add 17 games. That, if I'm not mistaken, won't go into effect until 2021 season. Won't go into effect
Right.
this year. Go into effect next season, adding the 17 game. And also, they want to add a new team to each conference for the playoffs, a 17 for each team. For each conference. That will go into effect this coming up season. And my little quick 2 cents, I'm gonna start off with the 17th game. In all honesty, I can carry either way. If they go 17 games, I'm cool. If they don't go 17 games, they stay at 16, I'm cool. My only thing is, like, if they add the 17 game, it has to be an out of conference game. It can't be, I'm saying, a conference game, because the reason why, just say for
Right.
instance, the Texans play the Cowboys with a 17 game, and the Titans play the Chiefs. The Texans beat the Cowboys, and the Titans beat the Chiefs. Well, that gives the Titans a head up with an extra conference tiebreaker. So if they have the same record, same divisional wins, they split their 2 games. But now the Chiefs got a better conference record because they play the extra conference game. That's completely unfair to opposing teams. So I think it has to be a out of conference game. So AFC versus NFC, and also I think it needs to be what's the word I'm looking for, a neutral site game, like a game in Mexico, a game in London, something like that. That way, you won't give a team 9 home games or 9 away games, because I think that would be unfair as well, taking the extra home and away game from a team. So, what's your feel about the 17 game proposal?
I haven't really thought. I haven't really thought into it that deeply as you did when you're really going into it. To be honest, I'm not. I'm really opposed to the extra game, because I feel like this extra wear and tear. You already got a situation where it's going to be 4 games for any wild card team who got to fight through that. I mean, yeah, of course you make your overall record look better. So all of these teams that happen to be, what they're going to be, 10-7 now. Like, that's
Yeah.
weird, But I'm pretty sure they're going to end up trying to figure out some kind of way, to really get it done. And honestly, I don't see a situation. I know the owners will end up agreeing to that, because we know that's more money, that's more TV money,
Right.
that means revenue. So they basically could placate it to a point where that's more money that we can pay the player. Just get rid of the salary cap. You had a situation in the 90s where you didn't have the salary cap. Get
Right.
rid of the salary cap. It's just that simple. You revenue, you generate more money than any other sport in the nation with on an annual basis, so like 11 to 12 billion, and we're not even talking about what you make at the stadium, from the ticket sales to concessions to merchandise. You know what I'm saying? And so it's a catch-22 when you really think about it. They're trying to be, because at the end of the day, if you increase a game, then that means you shorten the preseason. That means you would have to in order for this to come down, they would have to agree with the players in less time, when it comes to padded practices and things like that, because I know they're still trying to come to an agreement as far as that goes. And nothing's happened until the guaranteed money is in effect. I think until they can guarantee players 75% to 80%, I think it's going to end up being a lockout, and the players more than likely going to end up staying in pat. And some of the guys are already speaking out. Some of them may not. I went back and I was looking at some few videos, and I seen what J.J. Watt had spoke out about it. And when I looked at Get Up, and I seen the way that Marcus Spears and a few other people get by, I had to give a call and really wondered, did JJ know what he was talking about? Did he know? Because they went and expanded on a little bit more as far as that go. But we can delve into that probably a little later on in the video. But as it stands right now, it's going to be a while until the players feel that they can can be totally comfortable with this new CBA before any going forward. A lockout or a potential strike be underway.
Yeah, I mean it could be. I mean I think that the CBA doesn't expire until I think 2021 or something like that. So I still think we have. Of course, we still this season gonna be good. We still gonna have this year,
Right.
and if I'm not mistaken, I do think next season will still be regular as well. I think we won't see nothing. Like I said, as far as a lockout, I won't think a lockout will happen until the coming up to the 2022 season. But I could be wrong.
Right.
But I know for a fact this season is good. Like we ain't got to worry about missing no football, no lockout this year.
Right.
The only thing that I think that is a positive with the 17 game is, and I haven't heard anybody explain this angle. Do you know that you're taking away mediocrity because nobody can be 8-8. Either you're gonna be 8, either you're gonna be 8-9, or you're gonna be 9-8. There's no more 500. So there's no more. Either you're gonna have a winning record or a losing record. Only way you're gonna have a 500 record is if you have a tie.
Yeah.
Other than that, you're either gonna have a winning record or a losing record. So it takes away that just being okay. You're either gonna be a winner or a loser. So I do like that aspect of it. But in the 16 games, to be honest with you, the thing I have a problem with
that is. I never really even took that into consideration until you just spoke on it. And you are right. I mean, you can't teeter the line. You can't be one of these teams that's right in the middle, just be like, no, it's either you're bad or you're good. And to be honest, good being a game really doesn't even say you're good, because it's a lot of guys. And just imagine how like it's already bad enough. You already have a lot of tiebreakers and stuff like that going into the playoffs. The guys in the playoff hunt. That's gonna make things a lot more confusing when it comes to these games have to be broken down. They really shouldn't do that. I do see the pros of what you are saying, but is one more win that worth it? Especially when they're proposing the extra game is only going to be rewarded to $250,000 for the game. That's
the issue. That's the issue that they're like players like JJ or play like, because you got some players who are getting like they get $1 million per game. So now you're gonna tell me I go from $1 million per game to only getting this right here? Like I'm taking like a 75% pay cut to put my like you said put my body on the line. Rocking with that. So
they making 200. They making $200,000 just to show up for what like a practice, a spring practice, a work. So why would I be in real game time where the season is really going and I'm in and this could pretty much determine it, and I only get paid $50K? Come on, bro. That's I don't know how they thought that made sense, but okay.
Yeah. Now I have an issue being the minority. This and if I wear that hat, I wear that hat. I'm cool if I'm in the minority on this one. I don't like the 17 man to the playoffs. I don't like that aspect. And I know
I don't either.
I'm glad, because even though if you go back in the time, the Texans would have benefited. Like in 2009 when they barely missed the playoffs, because they lost the tiebreaker to the Jets. And then back in 2014, Bill O'Brien, same thing. They lost they would get into the playoffs under this format. But the reason why this is the reason why I don't like the 7-team added, because I don't want you to get to a situation like in basketball where over half the league gets into the playoffs. Now I know basketball got to do it a different way because they can't have 4 teams in the playoffs, but I like the fact that only the best of the best get in. Only the best of the best get in. And I know we have some years that good teams miss the playoffs, and I get that, but it holds more weight when only 6 teams in each conference. 12 out of 32 teams get into the playoffs. You're talking about you got 32 teams, but now 14 teams get into the playoffs. Is it really as rewarding?
Yeah.
It's not as rewarding.
Because a lot of those teams are still going to want. A lot of those teams, even what you were saying, is still what you're saying. Okay, say if they go into a 17-game season. Okay, so that means what, 9 and we keep this as a 16 team. So 9 and 7 teams are going to be able to squeak in, and 8 and 18 occasionally will be able to squeak right on in. Do we really want to watch an 8 and 8 and a 9 and 7 team in the playoffs. Every team in the AFC was what? The AFC and the NFC this year was what? With the exception of the Titans. The Titans were 9-7. And it was because of, they were able to win some games. But outside of that, and they go to an AFC championship, you're not going to see that happen that often. I mean, I understand they peaked at the right time, but not the nature of football. It's really not.
And also, like, really, I mean, if you had that this season, it would have been the Steelers with Devlin and Duck Hodges. Who wants to watch the Steelers with Devlin and Duck Hodges?
Not even Steelers fans.
Playing against Kansas City, because they would have to go to Arrowhead. Nobody would want to see that. That's not appealing to me. Like that's not an appealing. That's not an appealing game. And I know some years you might have a good team, a team that got hot at the right time to miss the playoffs. But my thing is that I'm a hark back to the Texans, because I'm a Texans fan. Back in 2009, when they missed the playoffs, you know who got in? Mm-hmm. The Jets got in. You know what happened week 1 that year? At NRG, you lost to the Jets with a rookie quarterback named Mark Sanchez. If you win that game, you be in the playoffs anyway because you hold the tiebreaker over the Jets. So I'm not about to reward you for losing to a rookie quarterback on opening day. I'm sorry. Handling your business on the field, you wouldn't be in the situation. That's how I feel about it.
I get it.
If you handle your business on the field, you wouldn't need to, we're going to add a team here, we're going to add a team here. Nah, bump all that. Keep it how it is. You need to get in the playoffs, earn your way into the playoffs. That's why you play
Absolutely.
16 games. Earn it on the players. Don't try to give these teams an extra out by, okay, we can start off bad, but we can still get into the playoffs. No, from start to finish, from week 1, from week 17, you need to play your absolute best. That's how I feel about it. We can take a couple of games off and get back in. No.
Especially when it comes to our fan base. You see, when it comes to the Texans fan base, we got to hold. We've been holding this fan base accountable, and we have to be accountable for what we say when we're on camera. You can't say, we want the best teams, and then because that kind of plays into that situation, and it keeps guys like Bill over. Do we really want that? Because that's all you're doing is you're giving guys chances to keep their jobs when they don't deserve them. This 10-game season is showing you, look, man, these dudes are who they are. And then just think about the process and how messed up that's going to be. Like, okay, if it's going to be 7 teams, so do you mean is it going to be 2 more teams to make this, or what? Like, how is that even going to work? Because you can't pick 3. You can't pick three teams. The only way I see that happen is if you're able to pick 2 extra teams who happen to be the 7. So that means if you already got 6, you already have 6 teams that are in the hunt. So now 4 teams in the hunt are going to end up making the playoffs. Like, come on, man. That's ridiculous. And at the end of the day, you're going to see a lot of teams. Cool for the fan bases whose teams don't naturally make it to the playoffs or they don't win divisions. Or, that's cool for the NFC East because that division is so close all the time. That division, maybe for a division like the NFC West, that might be cool. But you got to have a strong, the NFC South, if they start to rebuild their steam back, where they can have like 3 playoffs, then that's a situation. But you have 3 playoff teams in a single, pretty much year in, year out. That's the only way you can really bank that. And if you want to build your team like that, then you have to get rid of the salary cap. You have to allow teams to use their popularity and do this and use their savvy to get guys in that they need. Because just because they have the guys don't necessarily mean it's going to work. Because, hey, schemes matter. And so does coaching. Right. And we know that more than anybody else in the league right now.
Yeah, and you get to a point where you're rewarding mediocrity, and like you said, now
absolutely
now teams who now these fringe teams, because you add the 7th game, 7 teams to the playoff format. Now it's this team that was always on the fringe. They constantly get into the playoffs. Now they can say, well, I've been to the playoffs 7 out of 8 years, but you never win a playoff game, and you only get in as a 7th seed. That holds mediocre coaches to continue to keep their job, like the situation that we have in Houston, because Bill O'Brien constantly throws out he's won the division 4 out of 6 years.
4
So
times, 4 to 6 years.
yeah, so he keeps on throwing that out, and people keep eating it up. Like, okay, yeah, Calvin is eating
Right.
up, yeah. And all you're doing is
But
rewarding
it's 2 and
mediocrity.
4 in the playoffs.
Right. Yeah. All you're doing is all you're doing. So with adding the seventh playoff team, all you're doing is doing that. You're just rewarding. You're allowing bad coaches to keep their job. Well, I'm not gonna say bad coaches. I'm gonna say mediocre coaches because the bad coaches just won't have no win record at all. You're allowing mediocre coaches to continue to keep their job longer than they need to. You're gonna allow mediocre quarterbacks to continue to keep their starting job longer than they're supposed to if they can keep on getting into the playoffs as a 17, as a 17. Now, let's talk some actual on the field football when we get to the Houston Texans, because if I'm not mistaken, in 2 to 3 weeks, a little time called free agency is about to happen. Now we know that the Texans don't have premium draft picks, and they have some cap space, not a lot, but some. And this team has holes on defense when it comes to the personnel, and we have to find a way to fix this defense. Y'all know me; I've been harping about the secondary going back to 3-4 years ago. So I've been on record hopping about the secondary. I have not let off. We got rid of Hargraves, picked up $10 million in cap space, and this year, even though some of these guys are a little long in the tooth, a little older, but it are going to be some cornerbacks that are available that you could plug into the season. How would you attack free agency with these cornerbacks that's on the market?
Like me and you discussed offline, and like how I discussed with Jay offline, and like I discussed in my video from my live stream for anybody who didn't know, Third Coast Sports TV, that's the channel. But it's a situation where the secondary has been so depleted, and it's been so injury-ridden. You're in a situation where the corner market, everybody thinks that corners is making like $90 to $100 million. Bro, on a max contract, corners are making like $70 million. If you break that down for 5 years, that's what a little less than $50 million. It's like I think the top guys, like and not even necessarily in top. I don't even just in cap wise. The highest paid corners are making $15 million annually. Patrick Peterson just made $9 million this season, and he's one of the best, if not the best corner in the league, and has been that for quite some time. The corner market, bro, go out here and, like I said in my video, and like me and you have already discussed, load up on corners. If it's a situation where you can get a guy like Everson Griffin to come on your team, Eric Armstead, and Ngakoue, so be it. But if you can't get those guys, and if they're a little bit too pricey, I would honestly be in play all of these corners, and these are the names. Darius Slay, I traded a 3rd round pick for him right now, or when that time comes. Potentially, Rhodes could be gone. Byron Jones is on. Boyer is going to be back on the market. Chris, savvy veteran, can still cover. He's only 31 years old. People are making him seem like he's older than what he is. Bro. Still a top corner. Yeah, he's 5'11", but he knows how to play with size, even though he is a little undersized. He's the only corner of his stature who I'm even willing to take a chance on. Anybody else, those guys, Byron Jones, those guys, you can take a clip. I'm taking, me personally, I'm signing 3 guys. I'm signing 3 savvy corners in the league if it's my money. Because you have a situation where you don't know what you're doing with DJ Reader. That's up in the air. It's like 1 minute they don't want to sign him. Then next minute, we're in talks. So it already looks as if, and because Romeo Crennel isn't the defensive coordinator anymore, the most important person, while most people probably wouldn't say it, but in any defense that Romeo Crennel has run, whether he was in Kansas City, New England, the Texans, and various other organizations, in his 3-4, the nose tackle is always the most essential part, and that's why the pass rushers like Justin Houston, Tom Bahali, Jadeveon Clown, Whitney Merciless, Richard Seymour, and other guys on various teams that he won Super Bowls with were able to eat the way that they were, and they were so impactful when it came playoff time. But one thing they won't have to worry about if they go the route that me and you were suggesting, go all out on corner. You still have have Garyon Conley sold up. I would not re-sign Bradley Roby. I don't care what anybody says. He did not do enough. But he was in a lot of space where he could have made way more plays. And now that this free agent market is really ramping up, it's no way he deserves $10 million plus in my eyes. Conley, Lonnie, I'm able to work with that, and it's a situation where you make Tayshaun Gibson and Justin Reed's job way more easier.
It's funny because not to toot my own horn, but you can go back to watch my video before the second Colts game, like before the Thursday night game against the Colts. You go watch that video, watch the Colts video, the video before the Patriots game, and watch the Patriots video. I said the same thing. Going into that game, I said going into that Thursday night Colts game, I said Bradley Roby's in the situation where he is costing himself money because he's not playing. And I said, remember when he got signed, one of the first things he said, they brought me here to cover T.Y. He didn't cover T.Y. none of the season because he missed both games. And I said he's costing himself money because he was playing too cautious. He was okay, solid as far as covering, but he wasn't making any plays. And I said, now we don't have any more games going to the rest of the season where he can make any plays and make an impact. The only games you got left will be the Patriots and Tampa Bay. And I said, and that Patriots guy, I said before the Patriots game, I said, if he make a play against the Patriots, what is the narrative? Tom Brady's old, Patriots ain't got no weapons. If he make any plays against Tampa Bay, even though Jameis Winston leads the league in yards and they got all these receivers getting all these yards, what's the knock on Jameis Winston? He's going to turn the ball over. So if you make plays in those games, you don't get real credit for making plays in those games. I'm going to ask you a question. What games did Bradley Roby get picks in?
Tampa Bay, the Patriots.
That's it.
The last games. I want to say Tennessee.
That was it. He only got 2 picks. He got 2 picks in the pick six. And they both of his picks came against Tampa Bay and the Patriots. I said it before the games even happened that it was going to happen, but I can't give you full credit for it because of the type of opponent you're playing with.
I'm gonna throw you some more credit in the prediction video we did on the South. Shout out to Ed Hunt Show. When me and you both said that this defense would be bottom 5, and I'm not mistaken, we were on record saying this defense was gonna be bottom 5. I said the pass is gonna be like the worst in the league. They were 1 point away being the worst, and they let up the most points of anybody. Totally, I don't even want to get into that. We don't want to talk about red zone production. We got so many facets with this team. Putrid. Game 1 going against Michael told me, you end up playing pretty good against Julio in week 5.
Yeah.
Against the Falcons. Yeah, you had a solid game against Kennedy, but Keenan Allen was killing you in week 3. Last I checked, DJ Chark was eating in week 2.
Yeah.
Who did we play? We played the Panthers. They didn't throw the ball a whole lot, but when the ball was, so plays were being made.
The person who ate was AJ Brown week 15 against the Titans. He straight abused. Jesus. He straight abused Bradley Roby. And don't get me wrong, like you say, Bradley Roby could make plays because in that Buffalo game in the playoffs, it was twice he should have a pick 6. He should have pick 6 in the first half. He should have pick 6 in the first half, and then after the Texans kicked the field goal, scored a touchdown, and the Bills was driving to kick the game time field goal since overtime, he had another pick that he dropped. He put himself in situations, but he never completed the task. And until that and missing time, I can't reward you as being a highly paid corner.
No.
So that's why I said I feel that he cost himself money in that situation. My personal opinion, I would target probably a combination of I would go after Byron Jones first. But if Byron Jones is too high, I'm cool with going after Harris and then bringing in a guy who's being cut like Xavier Rhodes, Tremaine Johnson, or AJ Bouye. I'm cool with bringing those guys in because I know some people
How
talk
you feel
about.
about Darius Slay?
I think I would love to have Darius Slay. My thing about Darius Slay is I think that Detroit is going to want to ask for too much, and we don't have the ammunition to get it. If they cool with giving up, if they cool with a third, with that. But if they talking about in a second
Would
and a
you
first,
sacrifice two of our two? Would you sacrifice a third? Because we got compensatory picks galore, and then would you be willing to give up the
they can have
third and
all
the
the
fourth that
compensatory
we
picks.
get in the?
Compensatory pick.
That's how I feel.
We got two fourths because we got our own fourth and then we got Miami's fourth, and that Miami's fourth is what I think pick 104 or pick 103, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, it is. It is something like that. Yeah.
It's a high fourth round pick. So yeah, they can have their third. They can they can have their third. They can have their fourth. Depending on I wonder what Badgers compensatory pick going to command. I wonder if it's going to get into because since he was an All Pro, All Pro, and they won the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl champion.
I don't see why that's not bumped up to a second round compensatory pick. Because if I'm not mistaken, they do allow second round compensatory picks, and that's if anything, that's a second round compensatory pick consideration when a guy reaches first team All Pro and wins the Super Bowl.
Right.
We damn near gave you a key piece to your championship. Of course, we know you won through the arm of 15, but a key piece on defense coming number 32. So we should be rewarded.
And he played every game.
Exactly, play every game. Damn near play every snap. So and I think that's what they counted. They mostly counted off how many snaps they play. And he played every game. He played because they played all 16 games. They played the final week of the season.
Yeah.
So they didn't rest any guys. So he played all 16 games. He played all through the playoffs, and they won a Super Bowl. The thing that gets tricky is the Kareem because he got suspended. That's the one that's going to cost you because he missed the last 2 games of the year.
Ain't it a coincidence? As soon as the Texans game over, he gets suspended for 2 games, and they owe us a compensatory pick. This just look funny. It looks funny.
It comes from a DUI that he had early. I think in the off season. So
right.
Why he didn't get suspended early in the year? Why he didn't get suspended in the middle of the year? Why it comes after he plays us and then he don't play? It does have that. That doesn't smell quite right. It does have it don't pass the smell test on that one. I get what you're saying about that.
It doesn't.
Yeah, but I'm of that mindset that I would target. Like I said, I know you said you want to at least bring in 3. I would at least bring in 2. And I don't mind Roby coming back. It's just that I'm not paying him a lot of money.
I'm not paying. He has to get paid $10 million or more. I'm not willing to pay $10 million. I know I'm not the one writing the check, so I don't mean me as in figuratively. I mean literally. The team. But I feel like this. I feel honestly. I feel because of the move, Hargraves was being cut. That highlighted me, and I spoke to you about this last night when we were on the phone. And I just feel like this is just one of the moves where they probably I'm not trying to just say that Bill O'Brien is just finna go all out in the secondary, but at the end of the day, you can't say you're a great coach, you want to win, and you have Deshaun Watson as your quarterback, and he doesn't have as many chances to get the ball back and have an elite secondary because you don't have the money to just go out and sign top-end pass rushers. You wouldn't be able to do that. So at the very most, you giving up $45 million with bonuses and shit like that. So at the very much, you giving up maybe 45, 48 to get your secondary of the future going forward for the next 3, 4, 5 years, and you got and don't even have a situation where J-Joe resign, he retires, and he's immediately on the staff as a secondary coach. Like that's just a match made in heaven, and it doesn't matter. Well, this is a situation when you can almost say with a secondary that looks like the one that we're shaping up, that we're talking about, it doesn't really matter what they do up front because Cunningham they're not going to really be able to run the ball. But, depending on what they do, that's your other person. And you can draft, guys, who are pass rushers, at left end, right end, and build your depth. And if you want to get, some other positions on offense, I'm cool with that. But as far as what we really need, we need defense, and defense has to be replenished, and it hasn't been replenished for some time.
I think he's going to go at least via free agency. I think he's going to go defensive heavy because two things.
Right.
After the Denver game and after the loss in the playoffs, he threw his defense under the bus multiple times. Talked about, we did this, and we didn't really have the ball. I know in the Denver game he said he didn't have the ball that much. In the Kansas City game he said, we put up 31 points. He kept on throwing little nuggets and little digs at the defense. That's how I knew for a fact. We've been calling for it all year about Rack need to get sit down. I knew for a fact that Rack was going to get sat down because the way Bill O'Brien kept on throwing the defense under the bus after that Kansas City game. He did it a couple weeks earlier against the Denver game, even though I blame both of those games on coaching. And even though Rack is to blame, Bill got where they had two in both of those games, but that's a conversation for another day. But I knew then. So especially so when this comes out that he's the official general manager, which we've already known was going on, this right here tells me that, especially via free agency, he's going to target defense heavily. He's going to target defense heavily. We've been saying it all year long. That personnel-wise, there's nothing wrong with offense. We know the situation with offense. It's the scheme. It's the schematics. We know exactly what's going on with offense. It's that in the play calling. It has nothing to do with the personnel. Even though could you upgrade running back? Yes, absolutely. You could upgrade Carlos Hyde. Could you upgrade right guard? Yes, absolutely. But you take the exact same 11 guys and 12, 13 rotational players as far as slots and second running backs and stuff like that. You place that for a 16-game schedule, you have a chance to win a championship any day of the week, especially because you have number 4 throwing the football. The difference is, outside of coaching, if we talk about personnel, is on the defensive side because you don't have playmakers. You have Justin Reed, you have Zach Cunningham, you have Rita, you have Watt. I like Amenahu. I like the progression that Amenahu. He's only his first year. I like to see what Amenahu does going forward. I seen we've seen flashes out of Martin. I like Conley a lot. I think that he impressed me. He especially impressed me more in that Buffalo game. He had a quietly sneaky good Buffalo game. But he can't do it by himself. He needs other help in the secondary as well. And like I said, this is a mistake that the Texans have done from years past. Like I told you the other day, that if I was a general manager, every year, no matter if it's in the first round or in the 7th round, I'm taking a DB every single draft. Somewhere in the draft, I'm drafting the DB. You can never have too many DBs. You can move them to corner. You can move them to safety. You can move them to box safety. You can have them play sub linebacker. You can never have too many DBs on the field, especially with offenses out there throwing for 5,000 yards every year. You have to have multiple defensive backs, and I will take one every year.